हेलो गाइस, अभी तक हम लोग सेशन 14 तक ख़त्म कर सेशन 41 तक ख़त्म कर चुके हैं। सेशन 42 आज शुरू होने वाला है और नया चैप्टर भी है ये, दैट इज़ चैप्टर 15. Okay, so let's get into it. So it is about how to talk about what goes on. Okay, and इस चैप्टर में सेशन 42 से 44 तक है एंड इसके बाद वर्ड पावर में इजी ख़त्म and then there will be session 45, that is final session, that is a revision session, whatever you have learned throughout this journey of learning new words. So the what verbs ending in ate means: to exhaust, to scold severely, to deny oneself, to repeat the main points, to be a victim of mental or intellectual stagnation, to pretend, to hint, to make easy to bear, to show sympathy, to waver indecisively. Okay, now let's move into it. Session 42. Words are symbol of ideas. Okay, and we have been learning, discussing and working with words as they revolve around certain basic concepts. बेसिकली हमने बहुत ढेर सारे वर्ड्स सीखे हैं जो बहुत ढेर सारे बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स के अराउंड घूमते हैं और उसके थ्रू हमने पढ़ा है. तो बेसिकली वी लर्न वर्ड्स थ्रू देयर रूट वर्ड्स. तो स्टार्टिंग विद एन आइडिया, पर्सनालिटी टाइप्स, डॉक्टर्स, ऑक्यूपेशंस, साइंस, लाइंग, एक्शन, स्पीच, इंसल्ट्स, कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स एट्सेट्रा. तो बेसिकली ये कह रहा है, देखो हम कहाँ से शुरू किए थे. वी स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम पर्सनैलिटी टाइप ना, लाइक इंट्रोवर्ट, एक्सट्रोवर्ट, एम्बीवर्ट, एंड देन वी लर्नड अबाउट डॉक्टर्स लाइक ऑप्थेल्मोलॉजिस्ट, एंड देयर वाज orthodontist, there were other doctors, pediatrician, okay, gynecologist, and then various occupations were there, and their signs, and there was lying, like who is inveterate liar, incorrigible liar. दे आर लाइक, अगर कोई भड़काऊ भाषण दे रहा है तो वो क्या बोलोगे, डेमोगॉग है वो. तो दीज काइंड ऑफ जो है स्पीच एंड इंसल्ट, हाउ टू इंसल्ट योर एनिमी एंड हाउ टू कॉम्प्लीमेंट पीपल, देयर आर डिफरेंट वर्ड्स. एक्चुअली इन दिस सेशन वी आर, इन दिस चैप्टर, फाइनल चैप्टर, वी आर समराइजिंग the whole book. We are taking every word we have just learned. Okay, we have explored the meaning and uses of 10 basic words. Then working from each word we have wandered off towards any ideas and additional words that a basic word might suggest. Okay, एक basic root word पकड़े, उसके बाद हम लोग और ढेर सारे जितने भी words उससे निकलते थे वो सब सीख लिया हमने. ठीक है, and additional words that a basic word might suggest or towards any other word built on the same Latin or Greek word. तो जो सेम लैटिन और ग्रीक वर्ड से जो भी लोग बने हैं, जो भी वर्ड्स बने हैं, उस पर हम लोगों ने बहुत ढेर सारे वर्ड्स सीखे. ओके, बाय दिस नेचुरल एंड लॉजिकल मेथड you have been able to make meaningful and lasting contact with 50 to 100 or more words in each chapter, and you have discovered, I think, that while 5 isolated words may be difficult to learn in one day, 50 to 100 or more related words are easy to learn in a few sessions. Few sessions में सीखना ज़्यादा आसान है, as we have seen it was easier. Now let's move ahead. कई सेशंस में उन वर्ड्स को सीखना आसान था. ओके, इन दिस सेशन we learn words that tell what's going on, what's happening, what people do to each other or to themselves, or what others do to them. Okay, now ideas. Complete exhaustion. You have stayed up all night. Recently I was working in MNC, which belonged to US, so I had to work, I had to work throughout night and so sleep at day. And what were you doing? Playing poker, a very pleasant way of whiling away time? No. Engaging in some creative activity like writing a short story, writing a political campaign, discussing fascinating questions with friends? No, ऐसा भी कुछ नहीं कर रहे थे. The examples I have offered are exciting or stimulating, as psychologists have discovered. It is not work or effort that causes fatigue, but boredom, frustration, and similar feeling. Now, what causes exhaustion? If you have nothing to do, take example. अगर आजकल के बच्चों को मोबाइल ना दिया जाए, what will happen? They will feel exhausted. They will feel like life is nothing. They have nothing to do because they are so much engaged in that device. So if you put it away, what happens? They start feeling like there is no value to life. They feel exhausted. They sleep all day. This is what happens when you are bored. If you have something to engage yourself in, then you are not you are not bored easily. You have constantly have to do something to engage yourself and your brain, so that you do not feel boredom. Okay, so you have stayed up all night with a very sick husband, wife, child, or dear friend, and despite all your ministrations, the patient is sinking. You can see how this long vigil contains all the elements of frustration that contribute to mental, physical, and nervous fatigue. You have, if there is a patient in your house, like it could be your husband, it could be your wife, a child, or dear friend, and आप रात भर उसकी जो है हेल्प कर रहे थे, बट स्टिल आपका सारा मेहनत बेकार जा रहा था, वो अब सुधर नहीं रहा था उसकी हालत, तो क्या, यू फील मेंटल एंड फिजिकल एंड नर्वस फटीग, and you are pushed, but completely pushed. You exhaustion mental, it is psychological, it is emotional. What verb expresses the effect of that night's frustration on you? Inverate. Okay, innervate, to innervate. Okay, tongue lashing. You suddenly see the flashing red light as you glance in your rear view mirror. It's the middle of the night, yet the police flasher is clear as day, and then you hear a low growl of siren, so you pull over, knowing you were speeding along at 70 on the 55-mile-hour limit freeway. After all, there was not another car in sight on a deserted stretch of road you were traveling. Okay, that is tongue lashing. Okay, let's move ahead. The cop is pleasant, courteous, smiling, merely asks for your driver's license and registration, even says please. Feeling guilty and stupid, you become irritated. So what do? You lash out at the officer with all the verbal vituperation welling up in you from your self-anger. You scold him harshly for not spending his time looking for violent criminals instead of harassing innocent motorists. You call into question his honesty, his ambition, his fairness, even his ancestry. To no avail, of course. You stare at the traffic ticket morosely as the police cruiser pulls away. What word describes you, how you reacted? Castigate. Okay, पूरी कहानी समझते हैं castigate की. पूरी इंग्लिश तो समझा दी मैंने, बोल तो दी. बेसिकली हुआ क्या, खाली रोड थी, आप गाड़ी भगा रहे थे, या इंडिया में तो ऐसा नहीं होता है, भगा ही रहे तो. यूएस में या फॉरेन कंट्रीज में देयर इज अ स्पीड लिमिट, एवरी रोड हैज इट्स स्पीड लिमिट. इंडिया में भी है, बट नोबडी फॉलोज. ओके, तो इफ़ यू विल स्पीड मोर देन दैट स्पीड लिमिट, यू विल गेट कॉट, एंड एक टिकट होगा, फाइन आपको रजिस्टर कर दिया जाएगा कि आपको इतना फाइन पे करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज यू आर ओवर स्पीडिंग. So there was a 55-mile road and the motorist was driving 75 miles per hour, and वो आदमी अपना जॉब कर रहा था ड्यूटी से, आपके पास आया, अच्छे से बात किया, आपको प्लीज़ भी बोला ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस के लिए, और बाकी आपका टिकट भी हुआ, बट यू आर लाइक नो 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 नो, यू आर नॉट डूइंग योर जॉब एंड यू लैश्ड आउट. मतलब तुम्हें कुछ काम नहीं है, तुम जो है वायलेंट क्रिमिनल को पकड़ने के बजाय हमको पकड़ रहे हो, यार हमने स्पीड ही तो बस जो है तेज की थी. यू आर जस्ट लाइक ब्लैबरिंग अबाउट एवरीथिंग वट एवर यू कुड इमेजिन. सो दिस इज व्हाट, दिस इज castigate. Okay, let's move ahead. Now we got two words, that is, one is to enervate, जब आपको mental exhaustion हो जाए, physical exhaustion हो जाए without doing boredom, और castigate. Altruistic पहले भी पढ़ चुके हो. Phyllis is selfless and self-sacrificing. Her husband's need and desires come first, even they conflict with her own. Clothes of her two daughters are her main concern, even if she has to wear a 7-year-old coat and outmoded dress so that Paula and Evelyn can look smart and trim. At the dinner table, she heaps everyone's plate while she herself often goes without. Phyllis will deny herself, will scrimp and save, all to the end that she may offer her husband and children the luxuries that her low self-esteem does not permit her to give herself. What verb expresses Phyllis does? Self-abnegate. देखो, अब ये कहानी है हर घर की इंडियन माँ की. ये कहानी क्या कह रहा है कि एक औरत है जिसका नाम है फिलिस. फिलिस जो क्या करती है, सेल्फलेस है, सेल्फ सैक्रिफाइसिंग है, अपने हस्बैंड के लिए सब काम करती है और अपने बच्चों के लिए सारे कपड़े खरीदती है नए नए, ताकि उनके बच्चे स्मार्ट दिख सके और उनका हस्बैंड हमेशा मतलब अच्छा से फुलफिल्ड रहे, और वो अपने आप को, अपने हर नीड को नेगेट करती है, खुद से नेगेट करती है, बिकॉज शी वॉन्ट्स हर हस्बैंड and her children to be happy. So what kind of behavior it shows? It is negation, that is self negation. Okay, let's move ahead. That is repetition. You have delivered a long complicated lecture to your class, and now to make sure that they will remember the important points, you restate the key ideas, the main thoughts. You offer a short kind of brief summary step by step, omitting all extraneous details. What verb describes you better? Recapitulate. ये recapitulate वाला जो है आजकल किताबों में भी आ गया, कैप्सुलेट करना, recapitulate करना। आपने एक बढ़िया लेक्चर दिया, जैसे मैं एक बहुत बढ़िया लंबा लेक्चर देता हूँ, इसके बाद आपको मैं एक एक्सरसाइज कराता हूँ, लास्ट में आप एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हो, तो what the exercises does, the exercise summarizes the whole chapter, recapitulates the whole chapter. Okay. No joy di vivere. That is again a French word. Perhaps you wake up some gloomy Monday morning. Why is it? That Monday is always the worst day of the week, and begins to think of the waste of the last 5 years. Intellectually, there has been no progress. You have read scarcely half a dozen books, haven't made one new, exciting friend, haven't had a startling or usual thought. Economically, things are no better. Same old debts to meet, same old $100 in the bank, same old job, same old routine of 8 to 5 work days, the tuna fish or chicken salad sandwich for lunch, the same dreary ride home. What a life! No change, nothing but routine, sameness, monotony, and for what? By now you would get better. You would better get up. This type of thinking never leads anywhere, as you have long since learned. What verb describes how you live, how you think you live? Great. Vegetate. Such a देखो बेसिकली, अगर आपके ज़िंदगी में कुछ भी अच्छा नहीं चल रहा, सब कुछ मोनोटनस चल रहा है, कुछ भी नया बदल नहीं रहा है, तो आप क्या कर रहे हो? वेजिटेट कर रहे हो, आप कंप्लेन कर रहे हो सेम चीज़ों पे, यू आर वेजिटेटिंग टू वेजिटेट। ठीक है। Pretense. Your neighbor Mrs. Brown pops in without invitation to tell you of her latest troubles with her therapist, her hairdressers, her husband, her children, or her gynecologist. Since Florence Brown is dull to the point of ennui, and anyway you have a desk piled high with work you are planning to light into, you find it difficult to concentrate on what she is saying. However, you do not wish to offend her by sending her packing or even by appearing to be uninterested, so you pretend rapt attention, nodding wisely at what you hope are the right places. What verb describes this feigning of interest? Simulate. बेसिकली होता क्या है, आप एक बिहेवियर को सिमुलेट करो कि हाँ हाँ मैं सब समझ रहा हूँ, मुझे सब समझ में आ रहा है, आप ही पर ध्यान है. दिस इज व्हाट you are not doing any actual behavior, you are not performing anything, you are just simulating a behavior. That is a simulate. यहाँ पे हो क्या रहा था, मिसेस ब्राउन कुछ बोल रही थी, उस पर ध्यान नहीं दे रहा था, बस सिमुलेट कर, हाँ हाँ सही कह रही हो आप. Slight hint, no more. You are an author and are discussing with your editor the possible avenues of publicity and advertising of your new book. At one point in the conversation, the editor makes several statements which might or might not be constructed to mean that the company is going to promote the book heavily. For example, if you put some real money behind this, we might sell a few copies. Or I wonder if it would be a good idea to get you on a few talk shows. No unequivocal commitments, no clear-cut promises, only the slight and oblique mention of possibilities. What verb expresses what the editor is doing? To intimate. Basically हो क्या रहा है, the editor and the writer are discussing for the launch of their new book, and editor को लगता है कि जितना किया जा रहा है उससे मज़ा नहीं आएगा. You have to do more, like you have to put money, you have to get, get into few talk shows ताकि कुछ काम हो सके. तो ये क्या है, to intimate. ठीक है, इंटीमेट हो जाना. helpful. Aspirin doesn't cure any disease, yet this popular and inexpensive drug is universally used to lighten and relieve various unpleasant symptoms of disease: aches, pains, fever, inflammation, etc. What verb expresses the action of aspirin? To elevate. Elevate basically soothe करना. तो एस्पिरिन क्या करता है? सूद करता है, आपको हेल्प करता है. वो क्योर नहीं करता है, बट आपको सूद आउट करता है आपके पेन में. यू एलोवेट और फ्रेंड्स ऑल्सो. ओके. When the bell tolls, John Donne's line, made famous by Ernest Hemingway, no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of continent, a part of Maine. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is a less, as well as if promontories were, as well as if the manner of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Okay, that's great line. इसको जानने की जरूरत नहीं है, लिटरेचर का है. Truer than you may think, any person who views another pain with complete detachment or indifference is shutting off important feelings. When people have suffered a bereavement, when they have been wounded by life or by friends, then is the time they most need to feel that they are not alone, that you share their misery with them, even if you cannot directly elevate their sorrow. Your sympathy and compassion are, of course, elevation enough. What verb signifies this vicarious sharing of sorrows with someone who directly suffers? Commiserate. To commiserate. Okay. Now what happens कि मान लेते हैं, जैसे recently, let me give you example from my recent job. So I was working for Amazon. I was working for DLS, Disability and Leave Services, on which people called me for, they are in pain, or they haven't received money, or they are having some physical disability, because so that they cannot come to work, and they started telling me about their disease and the familiar hardship, like family hardship, what their family is going through. So you have to listen to them for a moment. Why it is happening to them, why they are complaining, and why they and then after listening to everything, you have to give them a solution, provide them a solution if it is possible, or if it is in your scope. But the very first thing is you have to show empathy, you have to understand the situation and think. अपने आप को पूरी तरह से उसमें ढाल देना, उनको पूरा तरह समझ लेना, दैट इज़ द थिंग. तो अगर आप किसी को अच्छे से समझ पा रहे हो, आप उसको थोड़ा तो सूद आउट करते हो कि हाँ कोई तो समझ रहा है. लाइक लास्ट नाइट व्हेन आई वाज टेकिंग कॉल्स, and there was a woman who was about to get married, and she was asking like, I want a personal leave of absence because I'm getting married. So I congratulated her. Congratulations on your marriage. And she was so happy that an unknown person is happy for her, congratulating her. So that is a commiserate. When two men propose, should you marry John or George? You are strongly and equally attracted to both. John is handsome, royal, tender. George is stable, reliable, dependent, always there when you need him. George loves you deeply. John is more exciting. You decide on John naturally. But wait, marrying John would mean giving up George. And with George, you always know where you stand. He is like the rock of Gibraltar, and sometimes almost as dull. So you change your mind, it's George, on more mature reflection. But now, but how happy can you be with a husband who is not exciting? Maybe John would be the best after all. Now she's confused in choosing the husband. The pendulum swings back and forth. You cannot make up your mind and stick to it. You fail to realize that your decision proves that you don't want to marry either one, or perhaps you don't want to give up either one. Or possibly don't even want to get married. First it's John, then it's George, then back to John, then George again. Which is it? Which is it? The verb describes your pendulum like indecision is vacillate. अगर आप एक किसी डिसीजन पे टिक नहीं पाते हो, you don't want to give up anything. You just want कि नहीं मुझे ये भी चाहिए, मुझे ये भी चाहिए, You are not decisive, you are not taking any mature decision on any of them. So what you're doing, you are vacillating, you are having a pendulum like behavior, and now you are vacillating. Now chapter is finished, and now we have to do some questions. Enervate, castigate, self-abnegate, recapitulate, vegetate, simulate, intimate, elevate, commiserate, vacillate. Innervate. Okay, now we are here, let's move. अगर आप प्रिटेंड करते हो तो सिमुलेट करते हो, आई से जोड़ दो इसको. सेंसर, स्कोल्ड, स्लैश एट, इसको थोड़ा सा ऊपर. ओके, स्लैश एट, वर्बलाई. इसका कैस्टिगेट होगा. वैसिलिटेट, वैसिलेट. अगर आप किसी एक चीज़ पर टिक ना पाओ तो मेरे ख्याल से इसका आंसर होना चाहिए वेवर. वेव कैसी होती है? ओके, ओहो, बार बार मेरा गड़बड़ हो रहा है, अभी स्क्रीन बड़ी हो गई, दिक्कत हो रही है. रिकैप्चुलेट, किसी चीज़ को तुम अच्छे से समराइज कर दो, ये रहा. वेजिटेट, बोरिंग जिंदगी है तुम्हारी. लेसन ब्राइटन ना. एग्जॉस्ट, सिंपथेटिक, सजेस्ट. स्टैग्नेट, स्टैग्नेट मोस्ट प्रोबेबल लग रहा है क्योंकि फंस गया है जिंदगी उसका. है ना? चलो, गड़बड़ हो गया ना, ये रहा. सेल्फ एब्निगेट, डिनाई वन सेल्फ. चलो, इनर वेट, एग्जॉस्ट कर दो खुद को. और कविता, इंटीमेट. इंटीमेट का हो गया अगर कोई आदमी हिंट देता है कुछ एक्स्ट्रा ऐड करने के लिए, जैसे उसका जो है सजेशन दे रहा था. एलिवेट, उसको लेसन करना. कॉमिजरेट, सिंपैथाइज करना, किसी से आप सिंपैथाइज कर जाओ, मिला नहीं पाए. चलो ठीक है, ओके ग्रेट. शुड यू फील इनर्वेटेड आफ्टर अ गुड नाइट स्लीप? नहीं, गुड नाइट स्लीप के बाद तो आप एनर्जाइज फील करोगे ना, टायर्ड थोड़ी फील करोगे. डू मोटरिस्ट हु हैव बीन कॉट स्पीडिंग समटाइम्स स्टार्ट कैस्टिगेटिंग द ऑफिसर? यस. डू पीपल हु आर completely self-abnegating say no to their needs and desire? Yes. When you recapitulate, do you cover new material? नहीं, पुराने material को cover करते हो. Do people possessed of joy de vivere usually feel that they are vegetating? joy vegetate के joy है उसमें, नहीं वैसा नहीं करेंगे. When you simulate alertness, do you purposely act somnolent? अगर आप alertness कर रहे हो तो somnolent क्यों करोगे? नो ना. When you intimate, do you make direct statement? No, आप हिंट करते हो. Does aspirin often have an elevating effect on pain? Yes, सूद करता है. Do we naturally commiserate with people who have suffered bereavement? Yes, किसी का कुत्ता बिल्ली मर जाए, किसी का भाई बहन मर जाए, कुछ भी हो जाए तो bereavement होता है. Do decisive people often facilitate? No, वो एक डिसीजन ले लिया तो ले लिया. Do you understand the words? Okay, कैसे करूँ मैं इसको, इसको करूँ ऐसे. Innervate, exhilarated, सेम होगा ये. Exhilarate, exhilarate, opposite. Castigate, praise, opposite. Self-abnegate, deny oneself, same. Recapitulate, summarize, yes. Vegetate, stagnate, बिल्कुल. Simulate, pretend, yes. Intimate, hint, बिल्कुल सही. Elevate, make worse, opposite. Commiserate, sympathize, same. And then there is vacillate, decide, opposite. चलो मिला लेना इसको. प्रिटेंड करोगे तो सिमुलेट करोगे. नाउ दैट इज टफ. नाउ लिखना आज टफ हो जाएगा. सिमुलेट. स्कोल्ड करोगे तो कैस्टिगेट करोगे किसी को भी. सैक्रिफाइस, सेल्फ एब्निकेट करोगे. मैं इसको छोटा कर लूँ ना तो सही रहेगा, पतला। वेवर, वैसिलिटेट करोगे, वैसिलेट करोगे, ओके। एग्जॉस्ट, एग्जॉस्ट करोगे तो एनरवेट करोगे, एनरवेट। सिंपैथाइज, सिंपैथाइज करोगे तो कॉमिसरेट करोगे। अच्छा, ये वाला वर्ड पहले भी आ चुका है इसमें ना, वर्ड पावर में डीजिए, मुझे जहाँ तक लग रहा है। रिकैप्चुलेट करोगे, रिकैप्चुलेट, स्पेलिंग सही है ना, कैपिचुलेट, यहाँ पे आई होगा। एलिवेट करोगे, एलिविएट करोगे, यहाँ पर अगर किसी को तुम लाइटिंग को हिंट करोगे तो इंटीमेट करोगे। स्टैग्नेट, वेजिटेट करोगे, वेजिटेट, फंस गया। अच्छा, वेजिटेशन कहाँ होती है, जहाँ पे तुम ग्रो नहीं करोगे तो वहाँ पे वेजिटेशन। ओह, खत्म हो गया। So this is end of session 42. Now we will be doing session 43 in the next video lecture. Thank you for watching, and let's meet in the next video. Bye bye.